Hello. So third time is a charm. If this doesn't work, I am just going to start crying. Okay. My name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty, here on YouTube and on Instagram. It is Monday the 28th of October. It is now after lunchtime. And I am here with a knitting and crochet podcast. And this is my first solo knitting and crochet podcast. Normally I put all my crafts together in one video. This autumn I decided I was going to split them up and do 3 separate videos, one for each craft, every 2 weeks. So here we are. I'm still a newbie to knitting and crochet. I learnt during the 2 lockdowns we had over the COVID years by YouTube, and then I've got various friends that can help me and are very kind and supportive and patient, which is probably the most important thing. So I still consider myself to be a very newbie. Certainly crochet for me is all about the blankets. I do love making crochet blankets, and up till now I have done a few of the Attic 24 blanket kits, which I find so good. They're so lovely and I think very good value. Knitting is all about the garments. Oh, all those jumpers, all those summer tops. Just, I watch so many knitting and YouTube and crochet videos. So enabling. My Ravelry list would probably now rival the Doomsday Book, to be honest with you. I certainly will never get to knit more, and even if I did knit more, there aren't enough days in the year for me to wear them. But, you know, dreaming and planning and scheming is half of the fun, isn't it? So I haven't spoken about my knitting or crochet since the beginning of July. I have 2 finished objects, one so close to a finish. Oh, I nearly cried when I realised I wasn't going to get it done for today. I have a few plans and a little bit of haul. I seem to find it's a lot easier to find a yarn shop when you go away or on holiday or day trips or what have you, than it is to find either a cross-stitch shop or a quilt shop, particularly in England. Anyway, so finish number 1 I'm actually wearing. I'm going to take this cardigan off. It's really, really cold now. So yeah, this blink and you might miss it because this won't go for long. So this is the Sabai top pattern I downloaded from Ravelry. It is by Suzanne Muller, and this was the buzz top of the summer. All the people that I watch, this was their top that they were making and they were raving about. You get 1 pattern, 2 options where you either have a ribbed neckline or you don't have a ribbed neckline. I chose to put the ribbed neckline in. I got gauge with a 3.75 millimeter needle, and in the pattern it asks for a 4mm needle. So if I read it, it says the Sabai top is a light and airy summer top with a boat neckline. It is super easy to knit, requires only a few techniques, and is therefore ideal for beginners. It is super easy to knit. You don't need many techniques at all. My only but to that, little spiel is that actually on these shoulder pieces, you're increasing every round, and it gets very, very tight. And to the extent that I went back to the original pattern page and looked at the comments, and there were a few other knitters that had messaged the designer saying, is it supposed to be this tight? Have I misread the pattern? Are we supposed to be doing, knit a clear round, then increase the next round? She said, no, it does just work the way through, it'll be absolutely fine. So it's only for a couple of stitches either side, only for a couple of increases, but it does get quite tight. You are, hauling a bit on your yarn. Other than that, it's a really, really great knit. I knit the large, which I think is possibly a bit too big. So let me just show you quickly. This is what it comes out. It's funny, it's this material that just seems to crease. So there we go. My issue is you can see my bra straps underneath and it's just a bit flary around the belly. I'm going to put my cardigan back on now, I'm sorry. And the other issue I have, and you can see it here, is I was really excited about this because obviously with the broader shoulders, it covers your bra straps, which is just great. However, I find that one side always just slips a little bit. I don't know if that's because it's possibly a bit too big. It could just be that I'm a bit lopsided. But I am just aware that every sort of 5 minutes or so I'm just cover that back up again. But other than that, it's very wearable. It's, you know, smart but casual, very easy to style. Yeah, so on the whole, really happy with it. I will knit another one. I'd like to do one without the ribbed neckline. I don't think this lays quite as it should do. I knit this, sorry I forgot to say, and this is where I've now got to go, here we go. So one of my biggest faults is that I go onto Ravelry, I find a pattern, I go, oh, that's really nice. I look at this suggested yarn and I think, oh, I'm never going to find that. So I then go to my local yarn shop and I sort of play match up, which being an amateur, you know, I'm not really very good at, even with the help of the yarn store. And actually, for the last couple of tops, this top, the next top I'm about to show you, or one of the tops I'm about to show you, the yarn's perfectly accessible in England. And whilst I like this yarn, I will, the next one I knit, I will source the yarn asked for within the pattern. I can't remember what it is now, and I haven't got the details. But anyway, this yarn is a Rowan cotton cashmere. Comes in 50-gram balls. It is 85% cotton, 15% cashmere. This is the shade number 00227. I really liked it to knit with. It was fine to knit with. Feels a little bit dry. It doesn't feel dry as you're wearing it, but as you're knitting it and using it, it's a little bit sort of dry and ropey, I'd say. It's got a nice enough drape, but I do find it does seem to crease quite easily. But then it also, you know, whatever. I've tried it, I've liked it. I'm not sure that I would rush out to use it again. I will try some other summer yarns, but it's not hideous in any way, shape or form. So actually on this, it should be 20 stitches to 28 rows, and it's suggested with a 4mm needle. And this is, I think that's coming up a bit sort of darker on the camera. I would actually say this is a light terracotta colour. So yes, so pleased with this. We'll re-knit it. Different yarn, different size, different neckline. We'll see how it goes. My second finished object is just a pair of vanilla socks. I used the Magic Loop, Vanilla Sock Magic Loop by Kay the Crazy Sock Lady on YouTube. I love her patterns, love her tutorials. It's what I first started with. I found it so easy, so simple, and I do a lot of sock knitting if we're travelling and things. It's a great thing, portable to take with you. Whenever you tend to go away, the lighting isn't good enough for cross stitch and all the rest of it. So a pair of socks, just mindless knitting in the round is great. I can't remember the wool. I can't remember what wool or yarn I bought for these. I bought it with a couple of friends within a group. None of us are overly impressed with it. It's quite fuzzy and it sounds really stupid, but as it comes off the wool, it's a bit more like tagliatelle than it is spaghetti. It's just flat. So it's fuzzy, flat and quite loose. So it can be a little bit awkward to find your stitches and make sure that you get the entire stitch incorporated. And if you have to tink it out, it's absolutely useless. It's just frazzled and gone. I don't know how long these are going to last for, as I said, because yeah, it does seem to just spread quite easily. And when I put them on, I could feel the cold from the kitchen floor coming through, which I don't normally with other standard big, you know, opal West Yorkshire spinner yarns. These felt significantly cool. And then the other thing which annoyed me with this was I tried to match the socks, not perfectly, but just get a semi, you know, so they're in a vaguely the same area, the colours. This was the first one. So this was the second one. Wasn't too far off, And then rather than this sort of fading into the green, I just got a nice straight line. So I was like, oh, for God's sake. So I just kept on knitting at that point. I thought, well, whatever. So that was a bit annoying. But there we go. A pair of finished socks that I do wear. They fit, they're comfortable. Wouldn't buy the yarn again. Not that I can remember what it was in the first place to not buy it again. So those are my 2 finished objects. So I have 3 whips. Sorry, I've had a stinking cold and I thought I was a lot better, and I keep on having coughing fits and all the rest of it. So I am on a bit of a rush because I'm not filming this again and I can't edit it because I can't sort the storage out on my phone. So you'll have to excuse me if I grab a drink quickly, if I need to. Right, so anyway, whips, sorry. The first whip, which is so close to being finished, I only need to do the ribbing on the bottom, is Olive's vest from Knitting for Olive. And this is what I have so far. So I am just about to start the ribbing. I have about 4 inches of ribbing to do, and that's it. It's completely finished. I just don't have a long enough cable in the size needle to do the ribbing, so that is on order with Amazon, and hopefully, no doubt, will be delivered whilst I'm trying to film this. So the doorbell will go and the dog will go berserk. I am knitting this in a wool that I bought from Andorra, and it's Rowan Moordale. Comes in 100-gram hanks. This is 70% wool, 30% alpaca, and this is the shade 00008. So basically, number 8. Love this wool. Love, 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 love this wool. I will be using this a lot more over the course of time. So, as I said, this is 30% alpaca, 70% wool. And so there's 2 parts to this. The first one being that I found out via a YouTube video that the wool is white, the alpaca is brown. Rather than dyeing the alpaca white and then over dyeing it all, they just ply the 2 together and then dye it. So to begin with, I was knitting away and I thought, is it the light? This seems to be a slightly darker spot, or has I got a bit of dirt on this? Again, this seems to be a slightly darker spot, and it's not noticeable in any way, shape or form, but it is there, and I think it just gives it a slight bit more texture, where because they didn't over dye the brown wool white, you just get slightly darker strains or strands coming through, and it's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, and then the second thing, because it's alpaca, or because it's got alpaca in it, I was quite concerned about how this would behave when it was blocked, because I think one of my first ever jumper, also sleeveless tops that I knit, it was in 100% alpaca. It started as a top, I washed it and blocked it, and it turned into a mini dress. So I ended up having to put it back into the tumble dryer and felting it to get it back to a size which is wearable. It is now the perfect size, and I do wear it all the time gardening and things, but it is felted, and because it's a V-neck, it's sort of the end of the V sits here. It's a bit of a funny shape at the top, but I do like it. But I didn't obviously want the same to happen to this. So because I couldn't find out much online about how much it grew or didn't grow, I gave it a mid-project block, because I'm a bit of a grown-up like that. It's the first time I've ever done it. I usually just wing it and then moan about it afterwards. So I did the arm, I did the ribbing on the arm because I thought, well, that'll cinch it up a bit anyway. Did the block. Really don't think it changed shape at all, to be fair to it. You can see there is a difference, where I would say it's probably, I don't know whether that's called bloom or whether it is just tightened up. There is a difference. You can see that there is a difference, but it is quite minor. But yeah, so I'm very happy with how this behaved whilst it was being washed and blocked, so I will just carry on as the pattern recommends. The things I learned in this project were actually both along a similar line. So the first one, this neckband is folded over, so it's a double neckband, so it's 2x2 ribbon, you fold it over, and then you could either sew it down or you could join it knitting and then carry on, and I decided to join it knitting and carried on, so I've never done that before, so that was okay. It's on a slight angle, I don't care, it's fine, it's done. And it was easy enough to do. I obviously just didn't perfect the art of it. And then the arm hole edging, again, is 2x2 ribbing folded over, and this time it was sewn down because obviously you put them all afterwards, so I've sewn that down. And that was equally as, well, obviously easier, and yeah, it's great. And actually, what was I going to say? Oh, where you pick up to start the ribbing for the armholes gives you quite a good little sort of lip to sew it into. So that was quite interesting. So yes, all in all, loving this. I am knitting again a large, and I got gauge. Oh, I got gauge with called for needles, 3.5 for the ribbing, 4.5 for the main body. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to get it finished. I think this could be the first garment, sorry, that actually is just good. So excited. Probably I've absolutely, skewered it now, but touch wood, it will be good. I don't think I have any more to say on that, other than I really do love this yarn. It's not the cheapest. I bought 4 skeins whilst I was in the shop. I will only use 3 to complete this top. I know it hasn't got sleeves on it, but I think for the price, for the quality, yeah, it's good. I like it, and I will be using it again. And then my second, I'm only on my second, so my second whip is Peacock Shirt by Lynette. Again, found this on Ravelry. Olive's Vest, is that what it's called? Yes, Olive's Vest from Knitting for Olive. I didn't find that on Ravelry. Now, I don't know whether I don't know why I didn't. I think probably I just went into Google and sort of knitted vest tops or something, knitted vest tops, and it happened to come up. I don't know if it is available on Ravelry or not, but I bought it from the, I think it's Unling website. I'll write it down below, sorry. I don't know if that's the same. I don't know if that's the name for Knitting for Olive, what have you. Oh, sorry. This Lynette Peacock Shirt is available from Ravelry. So this is, the lace pattern on the yoke is both addictive and simple to knit. The combination of lace and pearl stitches is beautiful. Peacock Shirt is worked top down. It has a short but loose fit. So I have cast mine on, and I've sort of been working it in tandem with my Olive's Vest. So I haven't got hugely far. This colour is a little bit out there. So I bought this yarn whilst we were on holiday in Portugal this summer. And whilst we were on holiday in Portugal, sitting at a restaurant having supper in the evening outdoors, as you do, and the restaurant provided rugs for you to just put around your shoulders and things as it got a bit chillier. And I had a yellow rug. And so I sort of put it around my shoulder, and John looked and said, that colour really suits you, which is not the sort of comment he would normally make whatsoever. He doesn't notice things like that at all. So I thought, God, it really must suit me if he's noticed it enough to say something. So the next day we went to this yarn shop. I thought, I'm going to try and find some yellow because, give it a go. I always just do blue. So I'm trying to broaden my horizons away from blue. Anyway, really the only yellow they had was this. I mean, bright sunshine yellow. I get the feeling I might look a bit like a fried egg when I first finish this and wear this. It will probably be for a midsummer when I've got a bit more of a tan. It might suit me a bit better. But yes, it is bright. It is sunglasses bright. So I have, obviously, as you can see, cast on, and I have started with the lace pattern, which goes around the yoke, and actually it's showing a bit better now. I think the light's changed from this morning. So I am reading a chart, which is the first time I am doing that. I'm doing a significant amount of lace, which is the first time I am undertaking that. So those are my two big things for this jumper or this shirt. At the moment I was on a stockinette round. The next round will be lace work. As I'm working the lace, I am putting markers in at every repeat, whether it's 4 stitches, 8, 12, however many, the markers are going between, so I can go back and count. So if I go wrong, I've only got to go back however many stitches rather than a whole row. This yarn is Riccolini Tricot Brancal, and it is 53% cotton, 47% acrylic. And I bought it from a yarn store in Portugal, and it is Portuguese yarn. Lovely to work with, it's absolutely fine to work with. My only slight concern is I hope that it blocks and relaxes well enough with this amount of acrylic in it that actually the pattern will come through, because I think I've seen people on YouTube that have knitted this, and I think they've probably done it in merinos or linens, and you know, you can really see the definition of the lacework. So I'm hoping that when this is finished and, as I said, washed and blocked, it will relax into showing that lacework, because obviously acrylic doesn't stretch that much. But yeah, so on the whole, really enjoying that. I got gauge, hang on a minute. Sorry. I got gauge with 3.25 mils, and it asks for 3 mils. So I've just had to go up a little bit. And I am doing the large size again. Yeah. And it does say short. I will probably keep going to a point that I'm comfortable with. I don't particularly want things hanging over my hips, but I don't particularly like having lots of flesh on display if I'm reaching up and what have you. So I will stop when I feel ready to stop. And my third whip are some more vanilla socks. So as I tend to cast off one pair, I just cast on another. I have quite a few balls of sock yarn to go. So this is what I've got to so far. I have done the heel, and I'm now starting on the foot. So that's my heel. It's a heel flap and gusset heel. And this is the ball of yarn, lots of colours in it, as you can see. This is actually Debbie Bliss Rialto Luxury Sock yarn, and I bought this a couple of years ago at the Knitting and Stitching Show. I think I bought 3 of them. They were on offer at one of these stalls. 75% wool, 25% polyamide. So this is another one, obviously a slightly different colourway. You see how it's got all the colours, and yeah, it's very nice. It's quite interesting. It shows, it's only a small thing, but I think it does show a little bit how I'm progressing within my knitting. As I said, I bought these a couple of years ago when I was very new to knitting and new to sock knitting, and I really struggled casting on and starting a pair. And it doesn't look particularly, but it is a little bit fuzzy. And because it's not one bland straight colour, I really struggled to cast on, to see what I was doing, and I kept on and on making mistakes, and it's very thin yarn compared to a lot of the yarns I do use for wool, for socks, whether that's because it's superwash or not, because I think it is a 4, yeah, no, she doesn't give a ply on it as such. And yeah, I had 3 or 4 attempts and kept on having to rip it out and put it away. And now I've cast it on, started, and it's like, I don't know what the fuss was all about, really. You know, it's perfectly easy to knit with. So yeah, so it's quite interesting how, you know, it was only a year and a half ago, and it's just, I'll never be able to use that. That was such a waste of money, and now I can. Again, vanilla sock, Kay, the crazy sock lady. I like this heel flap and gusset. I like it. I can never pick up all of my stitches and get equal numbers on both cables. There's always a little bit of fudging, and oh, I'll just knit these 2 stitches together and add a stitch here on the other needle. But as of yet, it hasn't been noticeable whilst I've been wearing it. I find this heel very comfortable to wear, and I think a lot of knitters that knit socks have a heel preference. I haven't knit any other heels because I don't need to, because I'm quite happy with this. I might give it a try, or I might just stick with this. The one thing I would like to do is use more of the yarn. So far, following Kay's pattern, I get left with nearly half a ball of yarn by the time I've finished 2 pairs of socks. I think, oh, for goodness sake. So I'm trying, and I do prefer longer socks. So I am sort of starting to play various games of yarn chicking and going, right, well, I'm up to 100 rows now here. And obviously my foot row count stays the same. Will that take me down to half for the second one? So playing around with that a little bit. Quite tempted to just do one of those long tube socks where you then cut it in the middle to do assumably a toe and a heel, or toe and heels. I don't know, I need to look into that a bit more just to see how long it can actually be. Yeah, I just want to try and use up as much of the sock yarn as I can. So that is my third whip, which will just be worked as and when we go travelling in the car or away. So I will either have got those finished, or I will still be chugging my way through those in the next video. Plans. So I have quite a few plans in accordance with the fact that I have quite a bit of haul. So my first plan is this January was the first time I knit a jumper. And I used the Handmade by Florence simple sweater, Knit Your First Sweater video on YouTube, which I found absolutely fantastic. This is actually my sweater here. I chose for the funnel neck. I learnt to do short rows, picking up stitches, doing the sleeves, etc, etc. This doesn't fit perfectly. However, I wear it most mornings. I get up, throw that on over the top of my pyjamas and head off to the pool to go swimming. And when I bought the yarn for that jumper, because I didn't know what I was doing, well, the yarn came like this. So it's wool for Wendy, or wool with Wendy with wool, sorry, Wendy with wool, Aran tweed, 400 grams. It is 20% wool, 77% premium acrylic, 3% viscose. Cheap as chips, I appreciate that's all relative, but it is, oh, excuse me, so I've got a blister on my hand. It is, for yarn to make a full project, it's a very, very reasonable option. I bought 2 of these because I was not knowing, thinking, oh, that will hopefully make me a jumper. Oh my God. So with this one, I am going to try and knit my first cardigan, because I have yet to make a cardigan. And I am going to use the tutorial from Handmade by Florence, which is called Knit Your First Cardigan, and it is on her YouTube channel. I chose her tutorials because I just got it. It just made sense to me. I watched it. I could understand what she was talking about and why she was doing it, and I could see everything that she was doing. I think there's a lot of very, very good tutorials out there, and I think it's just horses for courses. And for me personally, I really like her tutorials. So I will be casting on at some point my first cardigan within this. And again, it will just be whilst this is being washed, I will be able to throw this cardigan on as I head off in the morning to go swimming. So that's good. It'll be interesting to see how much of that wool I use up to make a cardigan. Then my second big project. And I'm sorry, I haven't got a photo to show you because I haven't actually bought the pattern yet. I bought the yarn, I haven't bought the pattern. So I haven't got a photo to show you. Is the Piping Hot sweater by Lily Kate France. I love a lot of her patterns. She is significantly younger than me, so I do worry a little bit that it might be a little bit not suitable. But they're just so, well, this one's perfectly suitable, but a lot of them, they're very feminine without being OTT. And so the Piping Hot sweater is knit in the round, top down. I don't know whether it's raglan. I don't know quite what the shoulder construction is. But essentially you've got one colour, your main colour, and then you have a piping. It's like a very fine stripe down the front, down the sleeves and down the back in a sort of really stark contrast colour. In her picture, hers is red, a lovely, really strong pillar box red with pink. I couldn't find those two colourways to work, so I have picked up this purple and this pink. So that's going to be the body of my jumper, and that pink is going to be my piping down the front, back and down the sides. So we were in Northumberland doing a couple of days walking. I had a day off and did a yarn hop around some shops in the local area, and I ended up in Fine Fettle Fibres in Felton. Lovely, lovely, lovely shop. Very friendly, helpful lady that runs it, owns it, runs it. Lots of gorgeous fibres, lots of gorgeous, colours and wools and all the rest of it. So anyway, I ended up, because again, I didn't use the recommended yarn in the Ravelry pattern. I mean, I'm pleased I didn't, because I love this, but I think I probably could have easily sourced it. So I ended up with John Arbon Devonia DK, which is in the colour Nightshade. And it's 50% Exmoor Blueface, 30% Blueface Leicester, 20% Lustre Breeds, 233 metres per 100 gram skein, DK weight. And this is Kremke Soul Wool Silky Kid, which is 72% mohair, 28% silk, and this is only colour 12. There isn't a colour name for it. So I'm going to be very, very excited to cast that on, although I'm a little bit, in some of the comments I've read that for some reason there's a little bit of complicated neck line construction add-on thing. So, but we shall see. I'm sure somebody will be able to help me through that. So so I'm looking through to that. I'm looking forward to that. So then haul-wise, I've got another couple of bits of haul. I do have vague ideas for them, but I haven't completely decided. So the first thing I bought was, we went to 2 yarn shops in Portugal. We were there for 7 days doing a road trip. So basically every city we got to, Google, is there a yarn shop? And there were. And so I went to Ovelha Negra, Loja de Trico Portuense or something. So anyway, I went to this yarn shop. Again, lovely, lovely yarn shop. And I think the owners always feel a bit like, when you walk in, you go, hi, and they go, oh, English person. But fortunately, I think I managed to get into the good books. There was another lady in there, or not the good books, but there's another lady in there, and she was very friendly and was chatting away to me, and she said, what are you wanting? She was helping me to translate, and I was just saying, well, anything really. And she showed me what she was working on. I said, oh, and I recognised the pattern just completely by fluke. And it was like Telestrations, is it, by Andrea Mowry? So I said, oh, is that, you know? She went, oh my God, yes it is. At that point, I was in the door because I knew what I was talking about. I didn't know what I was talking about, just happened to recognise that one pattern. Anyway, she was lovely and she was helping me a lot. And I mean, the owner was lovely and was trying to help me, but there was a little bit of a language barrier at times. Anyway, I bought these 4. I didn't have a plan, which is always a bad idea. Always a bad idea. I didn't have a plan, so I picked up these 4 in the hope that I could use them a little bit as a fade in something. So these are 100% wool, 50 grams of 165 metres, Rosario's 4 Pia Pardo, something like that. Probably nothing like that, but we'll just pretend. 20 stitches by 34 rows, recommended needles 3 to 6. I think probably, I have found a shawl, autumn tail shawl from Azetta. Again, sorry, I haven't got a photo to show you. It looks like a very simple shawl, and then it will just have a contrast colour around the edge. I don't know if it's an I-cord edging or if it's a sort of braided edging. Again, I haven't bought the pattern yet, but I did think, well, this would probably look quite nice like that as a shawl. Because just bought the quantity, it's not enough for a jumper, it's a little bit too much just for a cowl. What do you do? So I will probably do that. But yeah, so that's lovely. So that'll be a nice reminder of our holiday. In fact, I could possibly, yeah, if I went out with all of that on, actually, that's not out of the way. You never know. If you see me walking down the street, just across to the other side. So then back to Northumberland from Portugal. On my yarn hop, I went to the Anik Yarn Company in Anik. And I met the lovely lady who is Crochet Lutely on Instagram. So we had a good old natter and started following each other on Instagram. She was so friendly, she was lovely. And I picked up 2 skeins of West Yorkshire Spinners Blue-Faced Leicester, 100% wool, DK in the colour Fossil, 225 metres, recommended needle size 4mm, 22 stitches by 28 rows. So I've got 2 of those. Don't know. Could they be the braid around there? But then that seems a bit of a shame. Because A, I don't think that's going to be that big. And I quite like this. And I did think possibly I've got 1 or 2 sort of cowls with fronts and backs. Or a smaller cowl with a hat. I don't know yet. Something will jump out at me at some point. And then final piece of haul. Excuse me. I went to the Malvern Quilt Show last weekend with Sian Perrington of Periwinkle Stitcher, and even though it's a quilt show, I bought some sock yarn. And I picked up the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in Sparkle. Now the West Yorkshire Spinners, I believe, bring out a Christmas yarn every year. I think this might be this year's Christmas yarn, I don't know. I'm never normally that up to date. I wouldn't like to say for certain, but I think possibly this could be this year's. Anyway, it's lovely. Reared, sheared and spun in Britain, 4-ply, 75% wool, 23% nylon, 2% polyester. Recommended needle size of 3.25. 28 stitches by 36 rows. 400 metres. So, oh no. So this is Signature Sparkle, but it's Yuletide. Sorry, this is the colourway Yuletide. I read that wrong. But anyway, so this will be a pair of Christmas socks, whether I cast it on beginning of December or whether I cast them on Christmas Day and do them as the 12 days of Christmas or something, although I think I might be dreaming thinking that I'm going to get a pair of socks knit in 12 days. But yeah, so that was the final bit of yarn haul. It's just so much easier finding yarn in England than it is quilting stuff or cross stitch stuff. So next I just have a small bit of crochet to show you and then we're nearly done. So my niece has had, about 10 days ago, had her first baby. So this is the first of the next generation for our family, so that's all quite exciting. And I said, may I crochet you a blanket? And she said, yes, please. I chose the Little Doolally crochet patterns, and it's the Bertie Baby blanket. And I'm sorry, again, it's black and white. I asked her, you know, what colours would you like? Oh, anything, it'll be lovely, anything's fine. That's not helpful. So I then spoke to her mother and went, right, what colours does your daughter want? And she said, oh, pastel-y colours. So this is actually multicoloured. It's lovely. If you look at it online in colour, it really is very, very pretty. And it's just each layer is a different colour. So I went out and I bought probably 8 or 9 different pastel-y shades. Some weren't as pastel as the others. And I started in the orange. And I was just thinking, this isn't really pastel. This isn't, yeah, I'm just not happy with this. So I pulled it out and I just picked out the 3 pinks because she's had a girl. She was told that she would be, should be having a girl. And she did indeed have a girl. And so I chose these 3 pinks and just did them on repeat. So it's not a huge blanket by any means. When I saw the pattern and saw the size, I sort of said to my daughter, I'm going to increase it. And she said, no, don't, because she does know what she's talking about. She said, you're not supposed to put big blankets into cribs with babies anymore. She shouldn't be using it in that way. She said, it'll be great to go over the car seat or to put on the floor if they're around at a neighbour's house or anything like that. But she said, but don't make a massive one because they shouldn't really be using it like that. So I said, okay, so I have made this. So it's not a handkerchief, but it's not an Attic 24 massive blanket. But the bonus is with crochet, obviously, that, I can, if it survives, and as and when her daughter moves into a bed, I can always just add some more around the edge of it. So yeah, 100% acrylic. I used Wendy Supreme DK. That way she can wash it, she can throw it in the tumble dryer. Nobody needs to be precious about it. If it gets stuck in the wheel of the pushchair, it gets stuck in the wheel of the pushchair. I was much rather it was used and abused than just left to sit on a shelf. So hopefully now if this recording goes well, I can actually put it in the post and send it to her, poor girl. And then the only other crochet project I have on the go at the moment is just a scrappy blanket, very, very scrappy. Literally just tie knots of yarn together and keep crocheting. I will show that to you next time. I haven't worked on it at all over the summer because it's just too hot. It's quite a large blanket, so it's just too hot. But this is the time of the year it will be coming back out again. I think that's it. I can feel the coughing about to start. So before I start having a coughing fit, I'm going to go. If you've lasted this long, thank you very much indeed. I hope you liked what you've seen. If you have any ideas of, things I can do, patterns that you think I might like, please do let me know. I'm always up for a good old browse on Ravelry. I will be back in 6 weeks' time with hopefully with another knitting and crochet update. Or I will be back in 2 weeks with a cross stitch and 4 weeks with a quilting. Hopefully. Okay, take care and thank you very much for watching. Bye.